Alright, I just wanted to get started on the next set of tutorials that you can find here in the Open Modders group on the Bohemia Forums, and it's the next tutorial series is called Bohemia Public Data Modding 101. And when you click in here, it again provides a general overview, reviews some rules, getting started, then we go through the sample models, and then it goes into a little bit more details about the specifics that you can add to models. So let's get started. This guide aims to help navigate the Bohemia Public Data model releases. The sample models and the relevant licenses can be found in the Bohemia Wiki under the public data. So the link is right there, and you go here, and it's got the introduction, the data packages, and then it references the licenses right here. So everything's pretty straightforward. You just take some time to read it here and go after the specific content you're looking for. It's broken down into a couple of different, it's broken down by license. So say we go into ARMA 2 sample models. You'll see here it's got A2SM Anims APL Part 1, Part 2, and then A2SM Data APL and A2SM Data APL SA Zip. So it's sorted by the applicable license and also by the type of data it is. So these first two files, you can see them here in my drive. So we got all the sample models downloaded here, ARMA 2 sample models, and you have, again, Anims Part 1, Part 2, Data APL, and Data APL SA. So the Anims is, again, it's just the Anims PBO, but it is so large that it's broken into two separate file downloads, one which has half of the characters, and then the second one that has the other half of the characters, and then anims_e, which is for Operation Arrowhead, the expansion. So back to the sample models here, and you have Data APL and Data APL SA, and the basic difference here is Data, just under APL, is wheeled, weapons, water, tracked, some root config stuff, creatures, and air. So basically, as outlined here, anything to do with terrains, maps, models, houses, signs, trees, grasses, bushes, etc. Are all under the ARMA Public License Share Alike. So those are all right here in the ARMA 2 sample models SA. So map objects, maps, and structures are all under the SA license. And then anything to do with characters, animation, weapons, or vehicles, which means animals, guns, people, and vehicles, are all under the ARMA Public license. So again, back to the sample model downloads here, and you look at just the APL, and all the creatures, all the vehicles and weapons and asset models, and then in the SA you have all the terrain objects and terrains themselves. There's also a DayZ mod license, which is essentially the same as Share Alike, only it restricts it to use in ARMA 2 only. So that's really the major difference between the DayZ mod license and the APL SA license. So, then there's a little breakdown here of the licenses, explaining briefly what they mean, but again, this is a very brief breakdown. So nothing can be used outside of ARMA and its equals. So that means ARMA 1, 2, and 3 right now for APL and APL SA, and for DayZ, the DayZ mod license, that means only ARMA 2. Anything under the Share Alike or SA or mod license is open for others to create derivative works. However, you're not obligated to share modified source or source files that you don't want to. That's a common misconception that's been clarified since by Bohemia. there is no onus on the author to release their source work. Then, again, the third point is that anything under the DayZ mod license cannot be used in ARMA 3. It's only for ARMA 2 use. So now we have a basic idea, and again, it says right here, I do very basic knowledge. So please take the time to read the licenses, to understand the license for yourself. And if you have any specific questions, you can go to the Bohemia you can go to the Bohemia Interactive Forums, and there is a thread stickied almost everywhere. So if you go to ARMA 3 editing, and tools general, content licensing, questions and answers. So this is a thread where you can go in and ask specific questions. If you don't think, if you don't believe the licenses have provided clarity, you can get a specific answer here directly from BI, which is very helpful. And then, so now let's get modding. Wait, not yet. We went over some rules in the last one. But now that we're getting into developing, there's a couple more ground rules to really think about and observe. Depending on what your project is going to be, there's very different approaches and techniques and optimal workflows. Depending if you're creating a single asset or if you're batch editing things. But these are some general rules that are pretty much universal. In regards to the sample models, never ever take anything out of the ARMA 1 sample models unless that's the only place you can find it. A lot of the ARMA 1 models were updated and improved for use in ARMA 2, or in some cases not even used in ARMA 2, but they were still improved and retextured and updated and put in the ARMA 2 MLOD library. So always look in the ARMA 2 MLODs first for an asset before you grab the ARMA 1 one, because there's more work to do bringing an ARMA 1 file up to standards than it is to bring an ARMA 2 one up. So always check the A2 files. There's, like I said, there's always, there are very often upgraded and updated versions of the A1 assets. Always save and back up your work as you go, and as you achieve goals in the model. It can be really frustrating when you've accomplished something. You've gotten a certain level of detail finished in a model, and you save it, and then you start changing some things, and before you think about it, you save it again, and you've now don't have a place that you can roll back to in case the modifications you're making now actually cause some problems. So whenever you have whenever you've completed work, whenever you start working on a model, I recommend you put it into a safe workspace and not your project folder. So let's take an example from my own P drive here. The surrounding artificial objects. Say I'm going to modify, say the hotel building here. So what I would do in this case is I would copy it and I would put it into a junk folder. Like I have set up here, and then you edit the version that's in here, and you can save it there, and then you still have your original back in the other one. Another one that I do on occasion is if I'm planning on really going deeply into a model, what I'll do is I have a temporary work folder that I use, which here's buildings and assembled building backup. So that's a full, this is a full dump of the entire artificial object, before I'd start modifying it. Then here's work in progress, and you'll see, Budova 2, Dumistan 4 hotel, modular buildings, and this includes a bunch of buildings because I was working on a project for to create several models out of a couple of modular pieces. But you can never have too many backups, and I will likely never return to any of these, and I could delete the whole folder at this point. But while you're working, it's really important to have a running system of backing it up so that you're not overwriting a model that you need as a base, or that you've accomplished some goals on already, and then you lose all that work to have to redo it again. So you always save and back up your work as you go, and archive, and as you achieve goals. This is, I covered again in the previous tutorial. Always use PBO project. It saves you so many headaches, so many errors that you might just miss are very easily listed for you in your in the output logs if it fails to pack. So it just makes the development a lot easier, saves you a lot of time, and saves you chasing bugs that you may not even know are there. There's several instances that I've heard of modders who never used PBO project before and have released add-ons that are being used by many people with no complaints, and they don't spam RPT logs on the servers or anything like that. But then you run a packet with PBO project, and you find out that there are some fairly basic errors that will certainly help things out and make it run a little bit better if you have sorted them out. So. So always pack with PBO project. It's really an amazing tool. And actually, just today, I noticed that Mikaro's tools have actually been documented pretty fully on the Bohemia wiki now. So, Bohemia wiki, Mikaro. So if you go to the Bohemia Interactive Wiki. So if you go to the Biki and you go to Tools, you will now, under M, we have a spot for Mikaro's tools, and he's taken the time to list them all out and provide a forward, some installation instructions, additional requirements, basically all the details about using it, and then some very, some DOS, some instructions on how to enter commands to use the DOS prompt side of things, and just some general documentation. So I'll be doing a video on Mikaro's tools as well in the future, but it's great that he's taken the time to document everything here on the official Biki. What's the most maybe shocking part of working in Bohemia for modeling is that you may have quote-unquote finished a model. You're not done. There's just an endless amount of stuff to be done after actually finishing the modeling of an asset. And then just a general rule of practice, this is something I emphasize pretty much anywhere, is check, double check, recheck, check again, and when you're done with that, check some more. If you plan on releasing your add-on, you have a responsibility to produce good quality work, both to yourself and to the community. You should check your client RPT files to ensure that your add-on is not creating any errors. You should also check Mikaro's PBO project bin log for warnings, because it will sometimes successfully pack and still have some oddities that it's detecting, but not considering severe enough to stop it from packing. So always check those as well. There might be some hidden fixes that you can find in there as well. If the add-on is meant for server hosts to use in the MP environment, you really should do some testing in a dedicated server and make sure the server RPT is clean. And then also what I touched on yesterday in one of the previous tutorials that's not listed here is if you're planning on releasing your add-ons for public use and for MP play, you have to sign your files. That's really simple process with PBO project, a fairly complicated one without it. So that'll be a part of the Mikaro's tools video as well. Alright, so I'm going to break there, and then that should probably get us set for getting into the next section of getting started. And then hopefully we can just blast through the last half of the tutorial in one piece there. Alright, so thanks for watching, and click like and all that junk.